morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy new moon. Happy new moon. Just doing my bits. Bear with me. Give me one mo. Just checking what's going on. We're all good. Okay, so good morning and happy new moon. Make sure if you're interested in new moons at all, check in the media section of this group and look for some of the videos about new moon. Watch those videos. I'm not doing a video about the new moon today, but there are videos about the new moon, about setting intentions, planting seeds, guided meditations, visualizations, stuff like that. So if you're interested, media section of the group, check that chisel out. Today I'm going to be carry on talking about the chakras, obviously. Chakra. I've been singing this all week because I'm so excited about these chakras. Today I'm just going to be talking about the power of chakras and why we should be looking at them, why are they important, how have they impacted a real person's life. I'm going to share a few stories with you and hopefully sort of that you understand. Oh, Sandra's watching. Big birthday shout out to Zaza. I sent her a great message this morning and I screwed it up. So let's give her another message now. We're going to be like, happy birthday to you, squash tomatoes and stew, bread and butter in the gutter. Happy birthday to you. I hope you appreciated that. Anyway, moving back to chakras. So there's a great quote that I posted in this group yesterday that I just want to reiterate. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her name, but it's by Anadea Judith. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Anadea Judith. And her quote says that the body is the vehicle, consciousness the driver, yoga is the path, and the chakras are the map. The chakras are the map. So why I like that is because it's a really great example of what the chakras actually do for you, right? So they act like a map towards your healing journey, towards your health and well-being. So if you imagine your healing journey like little stepping stones, your chakras are like the stepping stones along the way. They're the signposts. They guide you towards where in your life needs improving, right? So you can use them as like a map on your body. So like what's going on in my body, like where are the issues in my body, in my physical body, where are the issues I'm experiencing in my emotional body, where are they held, how does that symbolically relate to my chakra system. And that's how we can use them as a map. So it's like you can use, so if you watched the free masterclass I did on Monday, then you'll know what I talked about discernment, awareness, discernment, identification, unblocking, rebalancing, and that process that I took you through. If you haven't seen the free masterclass, then you have until Friday to rewatch it. So again, if you go to the media section of the Facebook group and you just click on videos, it will be not the last video, because this will be the last video. It will be the second last video. It was on Monday. Or you can use the search bar in the group and just search for chakra masterclass or chakras and it will come up, or masterclass and it will come up. So it'll be up until Friday at 5 p.m, by which time I will be taking it down. So you've got 2.5 days to watch it. So schedule in some time. It is nearly 2 hours, so you do need a good chunk of time, but there's a meditation in that as well. So you could just forward it to the end and do the meditation, or you can cut out the meditation and just learn about the chakras in the middle, or you can watch the whole thing, or you could watch it in 2 sections, in little chunks. So I recommend watching that because it really does go into details about, why the chakra system is important, the different essences of the chakras, and how we can start learning how to discern our own imbalances within our system. But today I just wanted to share with you a couple stories about how this information has really helped me in my own healing journey. So the first story, winds back all the way back to my childhood when I experienced, every year I would experience a minimum of about 4 bouts of tonsillitis. So I was just really, really prone to tonsillitis. I was on penicillin like every few months, eating ice cream and drinking tea. I wonder if I just brought it on because I like to eat ice cream. Anyway, tonsillitis several times a year from late childhood all the way throughout my teenage years, right up until I was about 17. So 4 times a year, I had so much time off school. It was very infectious, it's very painful, and the way in which I dealt with it, the way in which it went away. At this time in my life, I didn't know about chakras, so I wasn't doing this intentionally, but later on, it helped me really understand what had happened to me. So from the age of about 10, 11, I really started to notice that I was just a bit different from a lot of other people. Like everyone else seemed to be happy, seemed to be getting on with life. And inside, I just seemed to be getting like darker and darker and more miserable. But because everyone around me was so happy and so just like living life, like my parents are super positive, happy people. And when you're at school, obviously like people don't necessarily wear their emotions on their sleeve in high school. So everyone's like, yeah, running around like life's amazing. Teenage years are amazing. Like teenagers are not amazing. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so different. I have this darkness. What is this darkness? No one else seems to have this darkness. Let's keep this darkness to myself because otherwise I don't want people to know that I have this darkness because then they'll think I'm even more weird than they already think I am. So I kept this darkness to myself. I hid it. So I first noticed this darkness around 11, 12 years old. It was 15. I was 15 years old before anyone else was aware of this darkness. 15 years old. So that was 3 to 4 years of keeping this darkness that I was aware of. I'm sure this darkness was here for a year or two before I was even aware of it. And then so that was 3 to 4 years of keeping this darkness to myself. Most of that time I had a boyfriend as well, or one boyfriend, my childhood sweetheart, was with him this whole time, and he had no idea. None of my friends had any ideas, and like a couple of times I did mention it to my friend. I remember mentioning something to my friends once, like I don't think I'm really that happy, and her being like, think about the starving kids in Africa, like you're fine. And me being like, okay, like, yeah, I'm not a starving kid in Africa, so I'm fine. Like, just being like, okay, cool, that's what you get for sharing your feelings with people, so I'll just keep it to myself. And then so I carried on keeping these things to myself. And then by the time I was 15, I tried to kill myself 3 times, 4 times by that point. And it was all because I was keeping everything to myself. I was completely blocking my throat chakra and nothing was getting out. I was lying to myself. I was lying to other people. I was being inauthentic. I wasn't able to be myself. And that resulted in me being absolutely miserable and having all of this tonsillitis that just like kept on coming up, kept on coming up. Every few months I'd have tonsillitis. And so 15 was when, I tried to kill myself a few times. It was when people really started to be like, okay, something's really up with Bells, like what's going on with her? Let's get her some help, So I started having therapy. Took me a while of having therapy to actually open up. So, I'm having therapy for, a couple of years before it's really starting to kick in and to work. So it's about 17 was about the last time I had tonsillitis, because by this point, I'd left school, I'd left that environment, I'd moved on, I'd been to therapy, I'd started opening up, I'd started getting some friends that, sort of really accepted me for who I was, and I was starting to be a bit more authentic in myself. And so this energy began to clear, and I never got tonsillitis again. So at the time, I had no idea that these were reasons why. But when I started learning about chakras in my early 20s, I was like, holy shiznit. Like, what? This is insane. Like, and that whole story then just like blew my freaking mind. And so now the way I utilize that story and my knowledge of the chakras is every time I get a bit of a scratch in my throat, every time I start getting a lump in my throat, or I get a sore throat or anything like that happens, yes, I use the Western medicine route and I go, okay, like, do I need to go to the doctors? Do I need to drink some tea? Do I need some painkillers? Do I need to eat some like softer foods? You know, do like what's actually wrong with me on a physical level, and how can I use what I know of Western medicine to treat me and help me with that? What do I know of perhaps some alternative medicines like the herbal teas, which herbs are best, etc., etc. And then also I think about what do I know about chakras and energy? What what am I lying to myself about? What am I lying to other people about? Where in my life am I being inauthentic? Where in my life am I unable to communicate my needs? And then I try and think of if I can't think of any of those areas, then I'm like, okay, cool, maybe it's literally just I've caught a bug from someone. You know, it doesn't always have to have a spiritual meaning, but it's always good to check in with the spiritual meaning to see if it brings any context and any help towards fueling the healing journey. So then if I'm suddenly like, oh, hey, do you know what? I've got this friend and they really actually upset me like a month or two ago, and I haven't really told them that they've upset me. So maybe that's what's causing this. So let me approach my friend and maybe talk to them about, you know, how I'm feeling and see if that helps. All whilst I'm taking the penicillin, or I'm having the Nurofen, or I'm drinking my teas and eating my ice cream, you know, all of the things, doing all of the things because they all help at the same time. So that's how I've used my knowledge of the chakras to help me in that respect and to help me keep at bay my tonsillitis. And I've now, you know, I'm now in my early 30s and I haven't had a bout of tonsillitis in, you know, well over a decade, nearly 15 years now. The second story I want to share with you is related to the sacral chakra. So as we're talking about the throat chakra, I can feel my throat being like, you're bringing some attention to us, girl. So just have a drink to clear that through. The second story I want to talk about is my sacral chakra. So me and my sacral chakra have a bit of a journey that we've been through together, just a little bit of a journey. And the sacral chakra is related to um, your reproductive organs, your self-respect, your self-love, your relationships to other, your pleasure, your creativity, all things like that. So I've experienced quite a lot of sexual trauma in my life, and that goes straight to my sacral chakra. Whenever I'm disrespecting my body and myself, or I'm allowing someone else to disrespect my body or myself, it goes straight to my sacral chakra, and my kidneys, my vagina, my womb space, my reproductive organs, my hips, the whole of that area just goes like, like, and gives me, basically sends off these alarm bells that you are disrespecting yourself, Missy, and we need to like pull you back in line. But it took me, you know, a while to really recognize this and to really understand and, you know, deal with it. Even though I knew about chakras for most of this time, my sexual trauma began a few years um before I got into chakras. But even once I'd started, it took me a while before I was like, how can I really utilize this wisdom to support my healing journey? So the first sort of physical illnesses, physical challenges I experienced that really brought my attention to this area was a series of kidney infections. So I had a few kidney infections like really close together, and this is something I like never experienced before. I was like, why have I got kidney infections? Like, what is this even? What is going on? dealt with them in the Western medicine route. You know, I went to doctors. One time I even had to go to hospital because it was so bad. I actually went to the doctors and they gave me the wrong medicine, which made me worse. And then, and then I had to go to hospital. And the doctor was like, yeah, someone seems to have given you the wrong medicine. I'm like, oh, great job. Thank you, NHS. um, so that was an unusual experience. But I had these series of kidney infections, and I knew about crystals and I knew about healing and stuff like that. So when I was at my friend's house, who makes a lot of jewelry and stuff with crystals, basically, like, I was playing with her crystals, and this one carnelian crystal that's orange in color, orange is the color of the sacral chakra. It basically just was like, you need me. You need me in your life. Take me home. And I was like, I'm really sorry, Nate, but I'm going to have to take your crystal because this crystal just needs to be in my life. And she was like, yeah, mate, take it. Have it. It's yours. So I took this crystal and I was like, okay, crystal, like, what do you want me to do with you? And the crystal was like, put me in your pants. And I was like, say what? Say what? And the crystal was like, put me in your pants. And I was like, okay, cool. So I put it in my pants and I lived for about 2 weeks with this crystal in my knickers. And yes, it fell in the toilet quite a few times. I had to fish it out of the toilet quite a few times. That was great. Thank you, universe. And oh, this is really funny. My throat's going all like, because I'm talking about like sensitive issues and being authentic and real. And this is like, so my throat's like, la, 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 la. Anyway, so went around with this crystal in my knickers. Never had a kidney infection since then. Never had a kidney infection since then. So that's great. So that obviously worked on that level. But I still think there was some stuff to clear. I still think there was a bit of, you know, I mean, so much sexual trauma, you know, it can't just be cleared up with one crystal in your knickers, right? So it cleared up the bit that was obviously causing these kidney infections, but there was some other stuff left over that I hadn't dealt with. So when I was 25, here in the UK at 25 years old, you get called for your first cervical screening because there are high rates of cervical cancer in, you know, 20-something-year-olds, 30-something-year-olds. so at 25, you get called for a cervical screening. My screening, what came back with not so great results. I had to go for a biopsy, which came back with high grade precancerous cells on my cervix. Now, I just want to point out that it was precancerous, so I did not have cancer. But anything that comes with the word cancer in the title is going to scare you a bit. It's going to be like, oh, okay, right, okay, cool, precancerous. It's pre, so let's hold on to the pre, but should probably do something about this, right? So I assessed the different avenues that I could take. The obvious first course of action was to take the medical route that the doctor suggested. So I went and I had the surgery that removes these cells, these high grade precancerous cells. Went and had that surgery, but my spiritual awareness and my spiritual brain was like, this is not enough. Like, this is enough to remove it now, but if I don't deal with the emotional side effects, the emotional trauma and pain that I've experienced, then it's probably going to come back. So that really shook me. That really, like, you know, made me stand up and pay attention and go, okay, I got to do something about this trauma, because otherwise, you know, when I'm called back in 6 months and in 3 years and in another 3 years after that, etc., like, I'm going to keep getting these positives because I'm not dealing with this trauma. So I felt into it, you know, I felt into my sacral chakra, I felt into my womb space. I'm like, what do you want, girl? You know, like, what do you want from me? How can I best support you through this? How can we deal with this pain? How can we, like, and I basically realized that I had been disrespecting my body and myself for many, many years. I hadn't necessarily realized that I was the one that could say no to people and that I had a say over who touched me, who came near me, who I dated, who I let in my space, who I let in my energy. You know, it was my choice. So I decided to assert that choice and assert those boundaries. And I entered into, I did something really cheesy, and I went into a relationship with myself, and I was like, right, I'm going to date myself. I'm going to get to know myself. I'm going to date myself. I wasn't like, men are evil, I swear off all men. Like, love men. Men are great. Have some very dear men in my life. My brother, my father, lovely men. I've got my gays, love my gays. I got, you know, my male friends, love men. They're great. So I wasn't like, let's bash the men. I was just like, I need to have a relationship with myself. I need to go inwards. I need to get to know myself again. I need to get to love myself again. If loving myself is too much of a leap, then I need to respect myself at the very fair respect, then like, then love. You know, we've got to build it up, right? So we can't dive straight into love from hating yourself. So first step is respecting myself. So first step is respecting myself and my boundaries. So I decided to take a loose vow of celibacy. And by loose, I mean, it wasn't like a super strong vow that was like, I will be celibate for 5 years. It was just like, I'm just going to not be with anyone for a while because I want to be with myself. And when the time feels right again, I will open myself up to that. So it wasn't like a super, because I know how powerful super strong vows can be energetically, and they can, you know, run through your whole life and into next lives, and they can really screw up your love life. So I wasn't gonna take a super strong vow. I just wanted to be like, I'm reclaiming myself, I'm getting to know myself, I'm in a relationship with myself. And I had this ring that was made for me by a friend out of like this seed pod. He carved it, and it had my name written on it. It said Bella on it. So I put this ring on my wedding finger, on my engagement finger, and I was like, I'm married to myself. Super cheesy, I know, super cheesy. So not me, but it just felt right. It was just part of my healing journey that was calling to me. So I married myself, not in like a ceremony or anything. I didn't take it that far. So I was in a relationship with myself, and this lasted about 18 months. I went on like 1 or 2 dates here and there, and then was like, yeah, this guy is not for me. So like was practicing what I was trying to get to, you know, like discerning, you know, like, oh, this guy, yes, I'll just see, like, just dip my, no, don't like you, go away, you know, like, oh, a couple dates with you, no, I'm all right, thanks. I think I'm just better off by myself right now. I'm having a lot of fun being single, and you know, just chilling with my friends and doing my spiritual practices and on all of that. And then about 18 months later, I was in a cafe in Vietnam, traveling around Asia for a year. I was in a cafe in Vietnam, and I just got this message from the universe, and the universe was like, a man is coming. And I was like, no, no, I was like, no, I'm okay, thanks. It must be for her. It must be for her. I don't know, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. And the universe was like, a man is coming for you. It's time to remove your ring and be open to this. And I was like, I think I'm okay. But thanks anyway. Thanks anyway. So I ignored this message from the universe. I bet we can all see how this is going to end. Ignored this message from the universe, and a week later, I looked down at my ring, and there is a crack all the way through one side of it. It didn't crack on both sides so that the ring fell in half. It just cracked on one side. Enough for me to go, my ring! I don't want this to break and to lose it forever. So I had to take it off. I had to take my ring off. I still have the ring. I've never worn it since because I'm terrified of breaking it. But I took the ring off and I was like, okay, universe, you win. You win. So I took it off and I was like, okay. This was in May. In June, almost exactly 5 years ago today, because my time hop reminded me, came home to England 1 month after I got this message and my ring broke, and I met the man I was with for 4 years after that. Now, we are no longer together, but he is still one of my dearest, dearest friends. And we are very good friends. We talk all the time. And it wasn't one of those breakups that was like, you know, traumatizing and conscious uncoupling, I believe they call it. And I hate that phrase. Anyway, we had a relationship for 4 years. And, would I have been open to it if I hadn't have taken this ring off? Would I have been in a place to receive this beautiful relationship if I hadn't have been celibate for all those years, for 18 months, and for, respecting my body and all of those things? So that's my jet. Also, I'd like to add that I've just had my third screening since that operation, and everyone has been negative since then. So woohoo! So whatever I'm doing is clearly working, is clearly helping. Every time I shit my pants when I'm called for it, and I'm like, have I been doing the work? Have I been respecting myself enough? Please let me have been respecting myself enough. But it is a good reminder, of me to keep on that journey of self-respect and self-love, because that's where the work is, really. I believe if you've been in my world for long enough, you will have seen all the stuff I'm about self-love. So that is where it's at for me, and that's a bit about how my journey began as well, with self-love. So I just wanted to share these examples with you because I really wanted to give you some real life examples of how working with the chakras can really support you on a physical and a mental, emotional well-being level, and how it's not about like woo woo versus Western. It's how can we increase the number of avenues that we can take towards our own healing journey? Because like one avenue, maybe you'll heal yourself, but maybe that's not the right avenue. Two avenues, you've doubled your chances of healing. Three avenues, you've tripled it. Keep going, more and more avenues of healing to explore the likelihood that you will heal on a deeper and more permanent level. So working with the chakras is really about healing empowerment. It's about putting the healing back in your own hands and taking control of your own health and well-being of your mind, body, and soul. I don't like, I'm a bit of a control freak, so I don't like my healing being in the hands of everyone else. I want to be in the hands of my own healing. And healing, healing can be proactive or reactive, right? So you can proactively heal yourself by living a healthy, holistic lifestyle, and you can be reactive and just sit around and wait for health scares to happen to you, and then you react by changing your life. So let's be proactive about it. And working with the chakras is a really proactive way to keep your system in a healthy, balanced state of equilibrium and homeostasis, so that you'll rarely ever have to get to this reactive state where you're like, shit, I'm dying, go go go. Like, hopefully not that extreme, but so it's not like, oh my God, I keep getting kidney infections. Like, how can I react to this and heal this? Oh my God, I've got precancerous cells on my cervix. How can I heal this? It's like, how can we prevent these things from happening in the first place? So with my throat, I can prevent myself from having sore throats by being authentic, by communicating my needs, by telling the truth, by living my truth. I can keep my sacral chakra from I can keep myself from hopefully having more high-grade precancerous cells on my cervix and hopefully not developing cervical cancer. I can stop myself from doing this by respecting myself, respecting my body, by self-worth, self-love, and all of those tools. So working with the chakras is just adding healing avenues and adding in more tools to your healing toolbox. So if you want to add more tools to your healing toolbox, if you want to add more avenues to your healing journey, then have a watch of my free masterclass, What the F Are Chakras, available till Friday, or you can join in my 7-day boot camp, my chakra boot camp, which starts this Saturday, the 12th of June. I'll post a link in the comments so you can check it out. But it's a 7-day boot camp. We start on Saturday. I will deliver a PDF every day for each chakra, and I will go live every morning to explain the contents of that PDF and how to make the most out of immersing yourself in the energies of that specific chakra for that day. So one of the great things about this particular program is that it's actually I've just launched an online academy, the Cosmic Academy. It's an online learning portal. So by buying a course through my portal, you get login details, which means you get access to the course materials forever until I close the academy down and, like kick you all out, which probably will never happen, or at least it won't happen for another like 50 years or so, because I'm only in my 30s and I don't really plan on retiring. I'm just going to do this forever. So you will have ongoing access to the course materials, which means that if you don't have time over the next 7 days, or over next week, to really fully immerse yourself in the energies, maybe you do a few days, maybe you miss a few, because you can always come back and do them again and again. And even if you are available to do them all 7 days, then maybe you just dip a toe in for those 7 days, and you come back in a few weeks time and you dip a foot in, and then in a few months time you come back and you dip your whole body in, and you spend a whole week immersing yourself, like, take a retreat time out for yourself. So that's the great thing about this boot camp, is that you can reuse the materials over and over and over again as tools in your healing journey toolbox. So that's why I'm so excited about this one, because it's a really permanent gift I'm giving. It's not just like a let's do a course and then forget it all. It's like, here's the materials that you can utilize over and over and over again, pretty much for the rest of your life. So do let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions about the boot camp and or the masterclass, if anything's come up from the masterclass for you, then just pop a comment below. Send me a private message. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, whatever it is. Any questions you have, let me know. Otherwise, I do hope you join the boot camp, because it's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. It's not just gonna be like a boring program. It's gonna be like, let's go, let's do all these activities, let's do all these fun things, and like embodiment practices, and like really get into the juice of that chakra. It's not just like fluffy duffy nonsense. Like, it's real immersive embodiment experience. I'm super excited. I hope you join me for this journey. If you have any questions, let me know. But for now, I'm going to sign off. So thanks for tuning in. Much love and infinite blessings from me. And I'll see you soon. Bye.